I love a good tier list. Let's rank every single Euro team in a tier list. Right, so here we go. Quick preview of all the groups here. We've got Group A, B, C. I'm sure you've seen it before. If you haven't, take a look at it. This is going to affect some of my decisions in this tier list. Okay, let's start with the teams that are going to be rock bottom, in my opinion, of this tier list. First of all, let's place Albania down here. If we go back to our groups, a bit of a tough draw. Italy, Croatia, Spain, they're all going to struggle. I just don't see a world where Albania escapes out of this group, even in third place. Moving on, we've got Slovenia. Again, going back to the groups, Slovenia have a very difficult group with England, Serbia, and Denmark. I can see kind of Denmark, Slovenia being interchangeable. I think Serbia has a really nice team, but I think they are going to finish rock bottom, in my opinion. Moving on, let's talk Romania. I think Romania are also going to struggle. Going back to the groups, this is a tough group, and I think Slovakia and Ukraine are really going to fight each other. I think Belgium should come out on top, but you struggle to get points in a group where everybody is fighting to beat one another and really needs all the points they can get. With reminder, third place can go through if you finish as the best third place team. That leaves us with Georgia as our final rock bottom team. Again, similar to a lot of the other teams, they've got a very, very tough group with Turkey, Portugal, and the Czech Republic. They're all going to battle each other really tough. It's going to be, once more, Portugal should come out on top, and a battle between Turkey and the Czech Republic to see who can go the furthest. Again, must-win game against Georgia for both those sides, and even Portugal to an extent. You cannot afford to lose that game, so I really think they're going to struggle beating any of those teams. All right, so let's talk about these third place teams. Some of the teams that I think either could finish bottom of the group or in contention to not do that, but these are not the teams I'm going to expect to make the knockout stages of the tournament, whether that be down to their tournament or their group in the tournament, or just I don't think they're good enough. First of all, let's start us off with Poland, and I think this is a really, really tough draw for them. I think this team is quite good. We go back to their group though, they're in the hardest group in this tournament. Group D is a death wish for anybody involved. I think France are the obvious leaders. They should come out and win that group, but with the Netherlands and Austria, who I really like, I think Poland are going to be very, very fortunate if they can come away with a couple of points and get into third place, but that's going to be a tough group to come out of. Moving forward, we have Hungary. Again, victim of a very, very difficult group. Scotland's going to be there, Switzerland are going to be there, and as I mentioned, Scotland, let's throw them in here too. I think if either of these teams, they're going to do well to make it out of this group in third place. I think really, realistically, that's probably the battle for these two teams. Even if they do, the way that the Euros qualifying works, it's the best placed third teams, and I don't think either of these teams are going to get enough points to be that wild card. There are teams who are going to be third place who are going to have easier runs. Teams that are facing these kind of bottom groups, they're going to have an easier chance of getting all 3 points, and 3 points, 4 points are going to put you in the knockout stages, I would have to imagine. So I think these two teams are going to struggle based on their group, just 4 really tough teams. I think they're going to find some issues pretty quickly. Finally, let's talk about Denmark. Denmark in a similar situation. They've got Slovenia. I could see them kind of being interchangeable with Slovenia, as well as Serbia and England. So England should win this group and it should be quite comfortable, but the rest of these 3 teams, you can kind of see them being predicted anywhere, and for that reason I think even if you do manage to come out in third place, again you're going to struggle to earn the points necessary to make it to the knockout rounds of this tournament. So let's talk Slovakia. I think Slovakia are going to make the knockout stages, and I think it mostly has to do with the setup of this Group E. Romania I don't think are a very good team, but Ukraine's not bad, and Slovakia are pretty good too. I think it's going to be a good battle between those two teams, but both those teams should pick up points against Romania and maybe even be able to nick a point against kind of the weakest of the proverbial one seeds, the teams that you expect to come out. I think Belgium might be the weakest one in all this group. So Belgium's up there for grabs, and so Ukraine, Romania, and Slovakia should all be able to try and go out there and get a result. I don't think Romania is going to be able to do anything, but Slovakia and Ukraine, that battle for second place, and realistically, a battle for third place. Third place does not put you out of the tournament, especially if you can earn some good points. All right, let's talk Italy. Italy in one of the harder groups I think I've seen. Spain, Croatia, Italy, and then Albania. I'm sure Albania can sit back and get a good result behind Armando Broja. These are three really good teams. I think Spain and Croatia have made, I think, the semi-finals of every single tournament for the last 3 years. Really, really on top form. They're going to be a tough team to beat. So is Spain. Spain's got a really youthful and good side. A team that's not going to give the ball away very much behind that midfield of Rodri. You got a host of young players coming through in that team. They're going to be tough to beat. Italy, I just don't think they have the teams, and I don't think they're going to be able to do much, but they will make the knockout stages, I do believe that. Then let's talk Turkey. Turkey, once more, have that easier group with Georgia. They're going to have a tough battle with the Czech Republic, but I think they should be able to do enough to make it out of this group with a couple of points. In the same kind of vein, I think the Czech Republic should be able to do the same thing. Easier group, chance to win points off Georgia, obviously, and then whatever that result be will then kind of sway the second and third. And then also depends how you do against Portugal. Portugal I would imagine, aren't going to win every game. They're not going to go 9-0, 9 points, 0 losses, 0 draws. You have to imagine there's going to be a draw or a bad loss somewhere. One of those teams could be the team that picks it up, and that would massively help propel them to the knockout stages. Then let's talk Serbia. Serbia have a very, very good team. But again, in a very tricky group, I think they should finish second place behind in this kind of host of groups here, the Slovenia, the Denmark, and the Serbia. I think Serbia will make it through. They've got some really, really talented players, but I don't know how much further their life is in this tournament after that point. We're getting to some difficult decisions here. Let's go to Switzerland now. Switzerland have a winnable group depending on how Germany do. Germany have had a propensity to mess up in some of these European Cups. I really, really like their team, but they're going to struggle to win every game and kind of make stuff happen against two very good teams in Scotland and Hungary. Rough group to try and make it out of. I think they will go there, but not much further. Then let's place Ukraine in here. Ukraine should make it out of their group here with, as I mentioned before, with Slovakia. Romania, I don't think are very good, and Belgium are probably the weakest of the highest pot 1 groups. They have a chance. What they do with it, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much further they can make it though. And the final team is a bit of a shock. I'm going to place Belgium in this tier. I don't see Belgium making it this far. I've spoke ad nauseum now after I talked about Slovakia and I talked about Ukraine about Belgium being the weaker side. They're getting on a little bit. They have some really, really talented players, and you can always rely on a guy like Kevin De Bruyne to make a bit of magic. But they're in transition period now. This might be a tournament where they underperform, and they have done in multiple seasons. We've expected them to be way better than they have been. Whether or not they can do it this year, I don't know, and I'm going to say they lose in the knockout stages. Alright, so let's start talking about some exciting teams. Spain could be a team that makes a run. I mentioned earlier how talented some of their players are. You obviously have Rodri, who is arguably the best defensive midfielder in world football, definitely the best in the Premier League at the moment. Really, really talented. They are kind of going through that transition, same as Belgium, but they're a little bit further on. I think they're probably a tournament ahead of this team. They've lost some of those older players of, like, you think of Sergio Ramos, Casillas, all those type of older guard. They've got guys like David Raya, who I'm not sure if David Raya will play over Unai Simon, but if he does, he's had a very good season. Spain just have a lot of very good, talented players, and it wouldn't surprise me if we look up and see them in the semi-final. Next team, I mentioned them earlier, it will be Croatia. I think Croatia have a really, really talented team. They are kind of, as we keep referring to Belgium, they are 2 tournaments before Belgium, potentially. They are probably, this is their last chance for this group to make a big run. You think about guys like Modric, probably done after this tournament, at least done at the highest level. He didn't play very much for Madrid this year, but he's still Modric at the end of the day. And they have a couple of really, really talented players. You got young guys like Josko Gvardiol coming through. A lot of talented players. I think they have enough for this to happen, but if they can go any further, I will kind of be surprised. Then we talk about a team like Austria, who I actually really, really like. This team could fall flat on their face depending on how the group shapes up, but in my opinion, it's a team I really, really respect and really like the way they play. Under Ralf Rangnick, they've seemed to have turned it around a little bit and really started to make things happen. I think they've got a good chance, and they've got a good tournament in front of them, and I would not be surprised if they go on to make a run. Remember, it's only European teams. Those quarterfinals and those semi-finals come quite quickly. You don't have to play unbelievably well. I think Austria are a team that has that potential to kind of sneak their way into the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and it's football. Anything can happen. Finally, is a team I debated about for a little while. I wasn't even sure if the Netherlands were going to make it out of my group. If we go back to this group idea here, the Netherlands have a very, very difficult group, and it's not hard to see them finish in 3rd, 4th place and not have enough points to move on. But they have a lot of talent and a lot of class, and this is a Netherlands team that have found ways to win games before. So I'm going to put them in, and if you look at the way they're most likely to go through, it wouldn't surprise me if they end up meeting Ukraine in the knockout stages, in the first stage of the knockout stages, who I think they are superior to. So just based on those kind of assignments alone, I think they have a really, really good chance of making it through. And once more, when you have so many talented players, it's not hard to see them picking up a game, picking up some steam, and suddenly they're in the semis. So speaking of semis, we've got 4 teams left, and let's talk about who I think are going to be in this tier. First of all, let's talk about the hosts, Germany. Don't think they quite have it, but do not be surprised if they are in the finals. I think they could find their way to a very, very easy run. Their knockout stages, or their group stages rather, are probably going to be harder than the knockout stages. So I wouldn't be surprised if we look up and based on the path they might have to the final, this team could be there. Then let's talk about Portugal. Portugal, last hurrah with Cristiano Ronaldo. Whether he'll keep playing, I don't know. He just set the Saudi league goal scoring total this year. Not sure how he keeps doing it. This man is a robot. But they still have so much talent. They have Ruben Diaz, they've got Diego Dalot, they've got Bruno Fernandes, they've got all these really, really highly talented Premier League players. They've got guys playing in Portugal, guys playing all over the place. Unbelievable talent. And I think these are all guys that could help carry Cristiano Ronaldo to one more Euro final, maybe another European Championship. Not sure how it's going to shake out for them, but it's going to be an interesting watch. So we have 2 teams left. I'm going to place France in the semi-finals. I think they're really, really good. Problem is, they're going to run into my champions in the semi-finals. I think I would quite like to see these 2 teams go on opposite sides of the bracket and meet in the finals. Whether or not that happens, I'm not sure. Based on the predictions I was kind of doing before, it didn't happen that way. It should be interesting to see how this shakes out. France are obviously really talented. You can sit here and talk about Kylian Mbappe until the night goes on, but they have some questions and they have some interesting things that are going to work out for them. How France is going to do in this tournament, I'm not sure, but they've been looking. They came to the finals of last year, barely lost to Argentina, so on paper they are the favourites. But in my semi-biased opinion, trying to put bias aside, I think England should be the best team in this tournament. They've got young players coming through, they've got the veterans. Harry Kane set the Bundesliga goal-scoring title, like Golden Boot. Jude Bellingham is the best player in La Liga. He just won the La Liga Player of the Season. Phil Foden is the best player in England. He just won the Premier League Player of the Season. There are so many talented players and they're doing it in different continents, which is not a thing that England has traditionally done. In my opinion, at the moment, England are my Euro 2024 champions. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Please make sure you hit the like button, and I'll see you later.